Welcome to Notable Approvals. I'm attorney Amanda Shaffer. Today we have another exciting case to talk about. And this deals with several changes of status and an adjustment of status. Before I get to that, just want to remind everybody to check out our Q&A discussion from last week. It was live on child custody. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you like us, follow us, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, Twitter, so that you don't miss any more lives. So today's case is about a client who is a native of Pakistan and citizen of Canada. She initially was here as an F1 student, and then after she graduated, got a TN visa. TN visas there's only two countries that can have a TN visa, Canadians and Mexicans, and it's all part of what was the NAFTA trade agreement. I think there's a different agreement, but TN visas are still in play. So she was here for a couple of years on a TN, then had gone back and forth, in and out of the country. And then at one point, she had been stopped and not let into the country. When you have a TN or applying for a TN and you're from Mexico, you have to file an I-129 petition, which is a petition for a non-immigrant worker. Regardless, you cannot get in with a TN visa without it. However, Canadians, it's a little easier. You can go to the border with your job offer letter and identity documents and whatever else, and show it to them, and they can just let you in without the need to file a petition, which is nice. So they don't get a physical visa. But around the time that this client came to us was after she had been denied entry previously. And that was because she had already been in the US for a number of years at school. Then she had a job. Another thing to keep in mind with the TN visa is there is no limit on the number of TN visas you can have, unlike an H-1B where you can only have it up to 6 years. But with a TN visa, it's usually for 2 years. I don't think 3 years. I think it's just 2 years, 2 or 3 years. And you can always renew it. But it's still a non-immigrant visa, meaning you're telling immigration you're not intending to remain in the US permanently. So while there is no limit to how many times you can renew it, obviously the more you have, the more immigration will question you about what your actual intent is. So this client had gone to the border with her job offer letter, and she was turned down. And she actually was able to get in the next day. Someone wrote no in a comment. I don't know what you're knowing. So she was able to get it, I think, the next day or something, because that is something you can do, try to enter another time. But she was very scared about having to leave the country again. So when she found out the nonprofit she was going to work for wasn't going to be able to keep her on anymore, she didn't want to have to leave the US and come back. So what we did is that we filed for a change of status to a B2 as a non-immigrant visa. And we told immigration, look, she has a boyfriend she's been dating for a while. She has show them proof that she has some weddings to go to. She has to find someone to rent her apartment. She has to make all her plans to go back home. She needs a little bit more time. And that was granted. And then by the time it was granted, we had told them we needed the full 6 months extra. It was about 4 months. Once it was granted, we only got her 1 month on the physical visa itself, which is common. I got one the other day that gave our client a day. Hi, Cha. I can answer general immigration questions, but not right now, because I want to talk about this case. But please feel free to shoot me an email, or you can give me a call after this, and I will be happy to answer your question. So, where was I? We filed the B2 visa. By the time it got approved, there was 1 month left in the 6 month stretch. However, our client had already found a new job, a new TN job, and she wanted to change status back to a TN. We talked about her going back to Canada and re-entering, but again, the inadmissibility issue with the non-immigrant intent was still present, and so she was really concerned about that. And fortunately, her employer was willing to pay for it, because if you're going to change status to a TN, even if you're Canadian, if you're changing status instead of entering through the border, you have to pay the filing fee. You have to file the petition. It's a lot of work. Fortunately, the employer paid for it and paid for premium processing, because we were able to find out in 15 days that she was approved, and she didn't have to worry too much about it, because they can take forever sometimes. And all was going great. She really enjoyed the job, really enjoyed the position, whatever she was doing. And unfortunately, sometimes nonprofits and for-profits, I guess, for that matter, run out of funding. And they fortunately notified her in advance, look, by this date, we're not going to be able to pay you anymore. And the way you prove you're in status when you're here on a work visa, a lot of times, is by submitting pay stubs. So even though her visa was valid until until 2020 or something, if she were to claim she was still in status up until the time her TN expired, she wouldn't be able to, because she wouldn't have the pay stubs. So there is a 60-day grace period for TNs. When you lose your job or quit or whatever the case may be, you have 60 days to either change status, adjust status, or leave the country. So we were in that time period, and she said to us, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how quickly I'll be able to find a new job. And then, I'll always be in this position where if they let me go, I have to leave the country. And right now my life is here. And she had been dating a U.S. citizen for 2 years. And we said, well, are you planning to marry this guy? And she said, yeah. I was like, well, why don't you guys get married? And, they were there was a 100% real relationship, planning to get married. They just weren't going to get married so soon. They were going to wait a little. But given the circumstances, they had faced a choice where either she was going to have to leave the country and he was going to have to leave with her, or break up, or she would be here out of status. So they decided that they wanted to get married, and they did. And we filed for a marriage-based green card for an adjustment of status. So again, she didn't have to leave the country, and it was approved. And right now she's a conditional resident, and they are going to be filing for their I-751 very soon. But the client was so relieved that after all these years, her fate wasn't left in the hands of her employer. So even if she lost her job or wanted to change jobs because she didn't like it, she wasn't tied. And that's a problem that we see often with non-immigrant workers, even immigrant workers, who, when you're tied to an employer, if you lose your job, you may have to lose the country. And I do recommend talking to an immigration attorney in that circumstance. So that is all today for notable approvals. Cha, if I'm saying that correctly. If not, I apologize. Please feel free to reach out to me after this. I'll post right now for you what my email address is. It's also going along the bottom of your screen, and we accept phone calls as well. Don't forget to like us, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that, so you don't miss another one. I'll be back tomorrow with another notable approval. Hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.